Conference will now be recorded.
Well, hi everybody, it's Jeff from Builterra here today. Thanks for joining us on the Friday afternoon webcast. I've got everybody muted, so if you have any questions, you can go to the chat box and ask some questions if you have to. We're going to look at some pretty interesting extensions for AutoCAD Civil 3D. This is one of the reasons why I really liked getting Builterra out to all of our customers in the civil engineering world, because connecting the mobile application, the web portal, and AutoCAD Civil 3D was sort of something I was really looking to do, even right from the start 5 years ago. So what we're going to see is some samples of what we're doing here in the office for customers and some of our generic stuff that's available to you as a subscriber. So there's a fair amount of content as usual, but I should be able to get through it. And if you have any questions, you can text me through or through the chat window, and I can address them while I'm on the webcast. So it is a busy agenda, but I think if you're using Civil 3D, it'll be quite interesting for you. It's a lot of stuff that we don't cover in detail during our sales presentations, and so today's a good chance to really get under the hood when we look at how to overlay a shapefile in the project, how to import from our generic application called Builterra Inspect, and we'll be looking at some custom automation examples that we've provided to some of our customers. And one of the highlights at the end of the presentation will be to look at this new third-party add-on called Builterra Geo. It's pretty exciting because it essentially takes the concept of doing borehole strata samples in the field with the mobile device, the data collection, and then importing it directly into the AutoCAD environment. So it's really interesting to see how we can do that through our mobile app that technically isn't built for geotechnical investigations, but because of the framework and the database structure that we've built, Builterra really is a platform for data collection in the field, and so you'll see an example of that today. I like to open up with the Builterra overview for every webcast, just in case we get some people who have joined who haven't seen the Builterra web app, or they're new to Builterra. It is a platform for contract administration. We're seeing it more and more used in just general field inspection. And as we integrate more and more with CAD, you'll start to see that we're building extensions for CAD. We're integrating with Trimble, which we'll talk about at the end of this presentation. And as we progress through this journey with Builterra, we're going to start seeing more and more third-party add-ons for this platform, and you'll see a sample of that today. The overview, it is a fully integrated product right from CAD, Civil 3D, design quantities and takeoffs, cost estimating. You can build your bid items directly from CAD if you so choose. Do the analysis. So we're getting a lot of people testing the Design Connect product. That's an add-on that we built for Civil 3D. We won't be talking about that today, but we did do a previous webcast on Design Connect, which is a full-blown data quantity takeoff tool and cost estimating tool for Builterra. The mobile inspection is the data collection piece. Again, we won't be looking at data collection. We're going to be looking at more of how to move this data from the portal into the CAD environment. So some really good examples of that. And finally, the payment certificates, the fully integrated product from where mobile design connects to the awarded tender or bid and produces a payment certificate. So fully integrated product and very simple data flow from start to finish. The overview, essentially, we have a project map, and we'll be looking at this shapefile import today. A lot of people are curious about that, and lots of interesting possible extensions for that in the future around shapefile integration with the Builterra project map. The inspection piece and the theming, you'll see a lot of this happening in this presentation where we're moving this data directly into AutoCAD. The photo map, this is free to all viewers of your account. So if you have a project manager or even the owner who's interested in photos or inspection data, they can just go to the photo map and view those inspections. So this has been a really good product feature for those who are using Builterra already. And of course, doing the tendering, full-blown tendering, schedule unit price development, cost estimating in real time. It really is amazing how far we've come over the last 4 or 5 years, building up Builterra into a fully integrated contract administration solution. And finally, producing schedule unit prices in Excel for bidders to enter their unit prices. So you can get all that historic data in the future for cost estimating. The project map is the basis of the Builterra platform. In other words, it's all geolocated in a project map in Bing. This is not an Esri GIS system, and there's no IT requirement. You can just log in with your email and password, and you're immediately into the project portal. The mapping piece allows you to add custom details and other searchable criteria for those looking to search on project information. So you can add photos and pictures. You can produce project sheets with this, or lists or maps. Custom details, like I said, is used for cost estimating and general search. The overlay, which we'll be looking at here today, and it's really cool how you can overlay your CAD drawings. If we look at the project map portal, this is the interaction of the project map site. So like I said, I like to take a few minutes at the beginning of every webcast because some of the CAD people out there don't actually haven't seen Builterra in this respect, right? They don't know every component of it. So it's nice to kind of show how it interacts with the contract administration group and the inspection group. So this is showing a simple theming, so very kind of a GIS flavor to it, where you can theme the pins based on any one custom detail. The first thing we're going to look at is how to add a project map overlay to the Builterra map. So I hope you're still with me. I can still see that we've got some people who didn't leave. That's good. Thank you. First thing you want to do when you add a project map is go to the Civil 3D and set the UTM system. Now, right now, we only support UTM for Builterra, just because it was sort of a generic coordinate system that most engineers can use. We can modify that if you have a custom one, like the City of Toronto has the MTM. So please let us know if you want to try something different and use another UTM system. So if you set up your zone UTM 83-17 for the Toronto area, or whatever your UTM system is in the city that you're in, then you'll have to do that through Civil 3D. So using the prospector menu, you can go ahead and set that. You would go with the settings, right click on the drawing, and then use the setup option to access the units and zone settings in Civil 3D. Once you set that, you want to initiate the command that's available with Civil 3D called Map Export. Map Export is an out-of-the-box Civil 3D command in the old Map 3D product, so it will export to any GIS format, and Esri shapefile is just one of them. So a great way to export data to that format. So in this case, I've isolated the proposed curbing layers on this specific project. Okay, this is a real project, by the way. And I've specified the layer that I want to extract, or you can go ahead and manually select the objects if you wanted to. make sure you pick the line objects. So these are lines that we're going to do. We don't support points or polygons or text just yet. Polylines or lines are what we do support. Very important you pick that. When you select the Data tab, you have to pick at least one attribute. In this case, I picked the layer of the line work. And I also use the Create Unique Key field. So these, for whatever reason, the Esri shapefile requires you to add at least one attribute. And so that's what I pick usually, just the layer name. It's kind of an odd thing to pick, but you have to do it. Under the options, it's very important that you convert the coordinates from the UTM to Lat-Long 84. This is the how the Bing map requires its data is latitude and longitude. So we have to convert the UTM to that before you export. So once you've got those selection data and options set, you can then go ahead and export to a shapefile. It actually produces 3 files, a SHP, a SHX, and a DBF file. So these are the 3 unique files that are required. When you select the project portal in Builterra, when you it doesn't show up here in the tabs here under the normal viewing. You have to actually edit the general properties by selecting the red pencil. So when you select the red pencil, it takes you into the editor, project editing, and there's an overlay tab. This is where you can add various shapefiles. You can add one or more layers from your drawing. You could add, the boundaries, the utilities, and as long as everything is a shapefile line work, you can add it. So when you add a feature by selecting the Add Feature option, you just have to pick each one of the files that Civil 3D produced. So you just put it in the right file into the right header there. And when you select the Add Overlay option, it will literally add the shapefile as a backdrop to your project. So it's really handy to view this in Builterra once you start adding them. You can change the color of the line work. So maybe you could have proposed, existing, different utilities, and then color it up as needed. It's very important that you select the show option here because you want to be able to show it or not, depending on your interest. So the thickness of the pen, this kind of idea, you can set it all through here. And when you go back to the project now, anybody who's viewing the job will actually see the proposed line work. So great way to envision your project as a overlay in the big map. And when you're doing inspection editing, it's super handy because then you can move the inspection data around based on that overlay. So that's why we really did it, is to, if you're out there doing a cell phone inspection and it's plus or minus 3 or 4 meters, you want to maybe move it in front of a lot, or maybe specifically pinpoint a section of the project diagram drawing for references, right? So that's why we did it. The inspection portal review, again, this is where the data is housed. So all of our drawing data comes directly from the portal. We don't have to export to ASCII files or anything like that. This is the centralized repository for all our inspection data. Getting the data out can be done, different ways. We're going to highlight 4 different ways right now, which is you can download all of your reports as a batch. You can pick the test pit data mobile form in the upper right panel. It displays all of the test pits in the lower left panel, sorry. And when you download all, you can pick all of your reports, your PDFs, your JPEGs, and a date range, and it'll do the entire download in a single zip file. So you can put that on your network or send it to somebody, that sort of thing. You can also download all of the data as an Esri shapefile. So the shapefile is really handy for GIS purposes. and all the attributes with the test pit data would come with it. You can download it as Excel, so all of your data you can download. Every single test pit would be its own line in Excel, which you can download. You can also import from Excel. So this is super handy when you're trying to do some batch editing. You can download all of the information, you can add to it, and then update the records back on Builterra. So that this interaction is very powerful when you want to start doing some batch editing. The CSV merge is for those who are doing survey and you want to merge the actual northing and easting and elevation with any of the form data. So if you've got fields in your form that require actual survey location, this CSV merge is super important, and we're going to look at that in a second. So in order to take advantage of the form location, the actual location of the survey based on survey, you have to do advanced settings of your mobile form. And we're going to take a quick look at that. This is managed through the administrator or the mobile coordinator, mobile form coordinator. Under the configuration option, there's general details, the form details, and advanced options here. So there's lots of advanced options, and we use them in various ways to help customers deliver better quality reports. The mapping option here is what we're talking about. So what it means is when we do an override of the default location, even though we get the latitude and longitude on the cell phone, it's only plus or minus whatever the cell phone's accuracy is. So it's not good if you're trying to pinpoint an exact point based on survey. So in order to do that, we want to override those longitude and latitude coordinates with the actual UTM coordinates. So if you go ahead and pick northings, easting, UTM in the zone, the northing and easting comes from the actual form. So if you have a survey, it will use the actual northing and easting in our Bing map. So this is the concept here where it'll actually move, the pointer will move based on the actual survey location. So there's really nothing stopping you from uploading an entire survey if you wanted to into Builterra. So this is important that you have this set up, okay? And the Builterra inspection add-on for AutoCAD also requires this to be set. So it's super important that you do this. The geolocation override means, like I said, the pointer will literally move from the latitude, longitude to the survey location that's been merged with it. And so you'll get, if you've got the northing, easting, and elevation set, the marker will move. And there's also a red piece of red text here that indicates that it's being overridden. So you can tell right away if there's an override in place. Okay. When you want to merge the survey point file with Builterra, there's the CSV option in the form. So in this case, we're looking at the structure data, the manhole data, for a project which was surveyed, by the way. So the Builterra was used to collect all the invert data and the pipe data, whereas the surveyor just surveyed the location of the manhole with the rim elevation. When you select survey merge, you're first prompted to pick a point file. So when you pick the survey point file, it's just typical, XYZ with a description or a name field. And so what's happening is it'll read the survey point file, which is, say, in this format, name, Y, X, Z, and description. And then in the attribute column, you have to pick whatever the form attribute is. In this case, the test pit had a name field, northing, easting, elevation, and utility type for the. So we are basically mapping those fields, and then it's very important that you pick a key field. The key field will merge the survey data with the matching key field. So in this case, the name that was put in by the surveyor is matching the form name, or the inspection name. So we can do hundreds or thousands of points merged with inspection data using this survey merge or CSV data import function. So we can train you guys on how to do all this if you have any questions. So once it's merged, it will do the inspection. So we'll just do a time check because we got kind of slowed down. But this is the inspection data after everything's been merged. And so you should be able to go to your site, and all of the inspections that are shown are based on survey. They're not using the cell phone accuracy. So you can see there's a black point way out in the middle of nowhere. That means that the surveyor had a bust in their survey data for some reason. So you can pick any one of these fields. You can generate a quick report. So this is just the inspection portal type information. So the next step is to import all this into AutoCAD. And importing into AutoCAD is where we want to go. And that's what today's session is all about. So it'd be great if we can push this into the design environment. And Builterra is the only mobile app on iOS or Android that can do this. So, while others are using, inspection apps for architects, we really are the civil engineering alternative here, where we understand coordinate systems and we import data directly into AutoCAD. In other words, it's not just about picking up pictures and collecting data. It's like, what do we do with it afterwards? And it's not an expensive GIS type product, so it's very simple. The Inspect extension is a free add-on that we built. It's available. You can download it for free and use it. I can point you in the right direction where to get it. It's a typical sort of AutoCAD dialog box here where you can log in direct to Builterra. You don't have to do an ASCII file or download to a spreadsheet. None of that. You just log in using your typical email and password. You pick the project and the form you're interested in getting the data from. When you pick the form, all of the attributes come up here in the right-hand list. You'll select the block with attributes. If you pick Auto Create, it'll just create a generic block with every single attribute that you select. So it's kind of doesn't look great, but it does import quickly in case you wanted to export that to, say, Navisworks or InfoWorks. The existing block will use a nice stylized block, and we'll look at an example of that in a second. The general options are the sort of AutoCAD properties that you're going to assign to that block. So you can pick a layer prefix. The elevation or the 3D location of that block is based on any one of these form attributes. So elevation obviously is a good choice. If you're looking to do depth or any kind of other numbered field, you can pick an elevation for that. The layer suffix, again, is another field that varies depending on the form entry. So in this case, utility type would be an obvious way to layer your data. If you're using Civil 3D, you do have the option to pick AECC Point, which is the point object for Civil 3D. So I am kind of speeding things up because we had a bit of a delay with that power outage. I really appreciate it if you hang on an extra 10 minutes into the session, because we got some good stuff coming up. So the Builterra Inspection Extension allows you to essentially import all of this data. This is our custom block for manholes, and this is something we built in order to redigitize the wet services for a project. And we just import the block, and we had everything at our fingertips for creating the Civil 3D pipe networks from that. Okay, so it's a block with attributes, which is great. It's also points. So these are the COGO points or the AECC points that are generic for Civil 3D. And because we're using a description field, you could also use a name field so you can make a point group. So this is stylize all my storm manholes versus sanitary versus Bell, this kind of idea. So you can bring all that data directly into Civil 3D as a point object. which you can build surfaces from and do other things with. Okay, so that's really handy. So not even Autodesk has this, where you can do a mobile inspection and import it directly into Civil 3D within a few minutes. The uploading Civil 3D alignments is another feature that we had with the Builterra Inspect Extension. In other words, one of the features that we have for the mobile app is to be able to query the alignment where you're standing for the closest alignment in order to get station and offset. So again, it's a unique feature available only on the Builterra mobile app. None of these other mobile apps on the market, none of them, Procore, FieldWire, all of these guys, they don't even know what an alignment is. We are focused on civil. Linear projects are our specialty. So when we are uploading our Civil 3D alignments, it's going directly to the Builterra site using our login system here, you can see on the screen. And when you're using the mobile app, you go ahead and create a new inspection. And when you get location information, either on the iPad or the Android, it will literally give you the Lat-Long of where you're standing, the weather, the temperature, as well as the Civil 3D station, like the alignment name and the station and the offset. So this is good within the cell phone's accuracy, but if you're on a 5-kilometer linear sewer line, it's pretty close. It's, within a few meters. If you're using the Trimble Catalyst, which we'll talk about at the end of the session, you'll get centimeter accuracy. Very important when we start attaching it to an antenna. And this is not survey equipment. This is literally your cell phone. So it's really, really interesting. So those are the basics around the out-of-the-box functionality with Builterra and some of the CAD extensions that we do have right now. This is stuff that we do for our customers. These are applications that were built. We come into their office and they say, "Can you do this?" And we say, "Yes, we can." We can program add-ons for Civil 3D or AutoCAD that are pretty crazy. And it's all coming from your cell phone data uploaded to the Builterra website. So this is a application that we needed to query proposed utilities, and it would do a buffer analysis on the utility line and find every test pit within 1 meter of that utility. So if the utility was changing every 3 days, the design of it, we could rerun the buffer analysis directly from within Civil 3D, and it would initiate. So this is what the video looks like, and I hope everybody can see that okay. What it means is that when you import, you log in directly to the site, and I got to get rid of that PowerPoint box, but basically you'll set the surfaces, the profiles. This is a custom application that we wrote, and it just queried the site just like that. There's no text files. It just literally brought in all of our test pits within 1 meter of the proposed utility line. And then we staggered the labels. So that's the other routine we had to write. So basically all of those test pits within a few minutes in real time. So imagine if you had guys out in the field collecting data. The CAD guys can be in the office running these reports within minutes. What I just showed you would take, oh my gosh, it'd probably take hours, maybe even days if you had hundreds and hundreds of test pits. So this is the kind of automation you can come to expect with working with Builterra. The subsurface utility, this is another application that we've built for one of our customers. Again, very unique requirements. So when you review the test pit data, this would be a typical, I always like to review the data first before I show these CAD demos. So this would be a typical, report that we're running. We do, as you know, we do custom reports for people. So this would be a typical test pit report. And, with the integrated photos, the data, everything's there. So you'll notice that there's a section AA that's missing. And so what you're going to see in a second is what we're doing to address that very unique requirement. Okay. Basically, it creates the section diagrams right within AutoCAD. So when you go ahead and generate the U section diagrams here, you'll go to the Builterra apps. This is a custom toolbar that we built for the customer, and we built for 4 different tools. Typical plan, profile, invert labels. So this is the kind of things that we deliver. So importing the U section diagrams will get all of the test bit data and then literally create these diagrams. So like I said, this is probably a job for somebody to produce these U diagrams. And Builterra can do 1 or more in a few minutes. This is the kind of automation that makes money for companies, and it's something that we're really good at. I spent pretty much my whole career doing this type of work. So when we see examples of how data is collected in the field, producing drawings is really not a problem if the data is collected in a standardized way. So Builterra allows you to do that. So that's a really cool example of the stuff we can do. The watercard reports, I can see that our friend Victor's on the line. This is something we did for Victor. One of our better customers had a problem with doing these kinds of reports. And this is just an example, again, of integrating not just AutoCAD, but the Excel reporting with the AutoCAD schematics. So you can see that there's a picture of the house. There's a schematic diagram that looks very standardized. And when you collect the data, the users also collect the dimensions for the schematic. And so when you go ahead and generate the schematic, you can do it within AutoCAD. You just log in, and you'll see that there's all the projects appear here, and then the water cards or the servicing cards here. So this is every single address. You can pick 1 or more and then go ahead and generate. So this will be a batch process where it not only generates the drawing, but it actually publishes the plot back to Builterra. So this is, again, a very unique use case where it's using the plot command right within AutoCAD, and we are capturing that and sending it back to the website. So very innovative. And what you've just seen there is, one of a kind, really. None of the competition is touching this. It's just because of our background, right? We want to integrate AutoCAD with the mobile form data collection. So as you can see, the water card's been published automatically through AutoCAD. And then when you go ahead and do a report, it comes out right within the Excel spreadsheet. So here it is here. So if we go ahead and run that Excel, so this is the double value here. It produces not just the Excel report, but it will embed the actual schematic right within the spreadsheet. So we are doing reports like this all the time now, where we're integrating the 2 products. Pretty cool stuff. The Builterra Geo is what we call a third-party extension, meaning it was funded by another company, and we did build the application internally, but it's being sold by us and through this other company. So the Geo is a really cool use of Builterra for geotechnical investigations. In other words, the data is collected like basically the data is collected just using the mobile app. In this case, an iPad was used. We can zoom into the borehole logs for the school site, for example. And all of the soil strata was picked up in a multi-table form. In other words, all the water logs, the soil strata, the cave-in data, the soil changes, everything's picked up on the mobile device. using just out-of-the-box Builterra forms. So you can see all these strata changes and other things. Any photos are also collected. So we're using out-of-the-box Builterra to collect the data. And then once that data is collected, it's pretty much ready to go for CAD. In other words, you don't have to come back to the office and upload ASCII files or re-enter data. It's all done in the field using the app or the website. When you go ahead and create a borehole log or a section plot, it's all real time. So this borehole log, we can do one or more logs. This is, again, a custom application that's being sold now. So if you like what you see and you have a geotechnical department, you can actually buy this now. This is something that can be purchased as an add-on to Builterra. So within a few seconds, we're generating this borehole log, and everything is configurable. The hatches, everything. That all came from the iPad. So it's just crazy what Builterra can do now. I, used to do these for years, and that would take half an hour to generate that from a set of notes, or more, probably an hour. The section plot, again, once you start automating, it's kind of like you wonder how you didn't, how you lived without it, kind of thing. And so we can add one or more boreholes to a fence diagram here, and just like that, generate the fence diagram. So it's using the same code base as the logging, just in a different presentation style. So we're getting a schematic, not to scale plot of all of the geotechnical data right from your mobile device. So of course, you would edit it if you need to on the website, but nothing's stopping you from generating these types of drawings right from within AutoCAD. The plan view plot, this is something where you can just, pick a block or a Civil 3D point and export it directly as a borehole. So this is the third tool in the tool set that's been developed. So these blocks come in using the UTM, the northing easting elevation that was merged with survey. So you're getting an accurate plot using the survey data that was previously merged. I hope I'm not going too quickly here. If you have any questions, you can use the chat window. The last tool is called Profile Plot. So this is for pure Civil 3D users. This requires Civil 3D, where you'll go ahead and select an alignment. So this would be a section or an alignment, and you'll go ahead and add the boreholes. And you can add them through the interface or through just by selecting the blocks. And what we're doing is querying the borehole name for that project because it's unique. And it's automatically putting together a list when you select it, and then you'll go ahead and project it to the profile view. So if you're an engineer and you're getting geotechnical data from an environmental group, then you might want to ask them, are you using Builterra? If they are using Builterra, then you can get access to the project. And if you're doing a subdivision and need to show boreholes, it will project this borehole data instantly once the data becomes available. So no files, no ASCII files, nothing. You can import that immediately. So I think you're getting a sense of some of these extensions that we've been building. And Trimble Catalyst is something we'll be presenting a month from now at the Trimble Dimensions conference in Las Vegas. This is an antenna that works on your Android phone. So when you buy the Catalyst, it's very affordable. It's $500 for the disc and about $200 for the pole. And you'll subscribe to a commercial network for depending on the accuracy you need. So if you need a centimeter quality, you'll subscribe to, say, CanNet. That's what we use here. And you'll get 10 centimeter quality of the horizontal location and probably 15 on the vertical. So that means it'll override the latitude and longitude positioning of your cell phone. So you'll get an accurate Lat-Long within, just like a surveyor. It means that you don't have to be a surveyor, you don't have to buy a lot of equipment in order to do very accurate, as-built work. In other words, how much granular did they put in today, or what's the elevation of this service or manhole? So you can do lots of really great stuff just with your cell phone. So the Builterra app will be ready for Catalyst probably out by mid-November. So we are featuring it for the geotech industry, for not just boreholes, but for compaction testing and other types of testing where 10 centimeter or even meter location is acceptable. So we'll be drilling into some more add-ons for the Builterra Geo app later in the year. Custom automation or third-party development. So as we continue on with the Catalyst development and some of our own custom automation for customers, we're seeing just all kinds of different things we can do with being able to have survey accurate data on our mobile devices. So whether it's as-built utility cuts or area and volume calcs of a stockpile even, we're looking at integrating Civil 3D to do an automatic pile calc right from your cell phone. All kinds of really cool stuff. The drafting updates for mobile. Imagine doing a Civil 3D pipe network update just right from your cell phone. Exporting to building information modeling systems like Navisworks or InfraWorks. This can be done right now. We can export all the inspection data directly to InfraWorks, so that the 3D model you see on the screen there, those little balloons are test bit data. Depending on the utility type, it'll change the color of the balloon. The export to GIS or Esri, Google Maps is an option for people already, and you don't have to buy Esri servers or Esri Collect or Survey 123. You can just use your Android device with the free Builterra app to collect the data, okay, and export it directly to GIS. So it's really easy to get into this without spending a lot of money. If you have any questions, I know I kind of flew through the rest because I didn't want to take up your whole day. But basically, if you have any questions or if you want to engage us to do any kind of customization or automation, we can pretty much get CAD to do anything you need it to do directly from the Builterra database. So integration with current reporting, integration with design drawings. We've got over 20 years experience with it, so we can handle a lot of different automation requirements. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them. I'll stay on the line for a couple of minutes, and if I don't hear from you, then have a great weekend and really appreciate your patience while that power outage was happening with our office here. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon.